Call me by your name, and I'll call you by mine. Big Mouth.
Bruno,
Big Mouth. Big Mouth.
Bruno.
Big Mouth.
This is just being John Malkovich now.
Yeah, and welcome to the Bruno and Big Mouth show. I'm Big Mouth.
And I'm Bruno.
And this week we watched some shit again.
We watched some shitty shit.
Yeah.
Right out the shithole.
Right out the shitter.
Just went to the shit store and bought some liquid shit.
Yeah, and what was the name? What was the name of that liquid shit, Bruno?
Well, this episode is literally years in the making.
Yeah, I'd say decades actually.
Because we've been watching this movie since high school. It's a Ratatouille spin-off.
Yeah, it's a spin-off film.
Offshoot, rip-off, whatever you
want to call it. It's more like a reimagining of Ratatouille.
Yeah, recreation, reanimation, whatever you want to call it. And it's called Ratatoing.
Ratatoing.
And it's by a studio called Video Brinquedo.
They're Brazilian.
That just reimagines children's films like B-Movie and Kung Fu Panda.
Very poorly. they reimagine them worse. They make it a worse film.
I mean, I think it's a good film.
I mean, I never said it was a bad film. I'm just saying it's not as good as probably the originals, I'd have to say.
What's really kind of sad is that Ratatouille is probably my most watched film. Because I probably watched it like 30 times in high school, and I watched it 3 times.
Instead of going to class, he would watch Ratatouille.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I feel a little bit shamed.
No, there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Fuck class.
I just
watch
like
Ratatouille. Yeah. So, how do we even begin to discuss Ratatouille?
Well, it's just like if Ratatouille was a fucking fever dream. I don't know. It's an odd experience.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
So it opens up, and we're at a restaurant called Ratatoing. And there's all these mice. Well, not
rats.
Mice. They're rats. As the title of the movie may suggest.
They're really refined rats.
They're speaking rats. And all they have to say is, wow, the food here is so good.
Yeah.
I need to speak to the chef.
Yeah,
I love the food here.
The first 10 minutes is literally nothing but them talking about the food that they make in the restaurant. And the conversations go way longer than they should. And they sound like they're being written by AI.
Excuse me, is my soup made out of gorgonzola?
Yeah, they have like weird titles for the food, like mushroom and moss with orange sauce, I think one of them is.
Sauce. And plastic.
And plastic, yeah. It's nuts.
It's nuts. So then we meet our titular character, Marcel Ratatouille. Or is it just Toing?
Marcel Toing.
Yeah, it's Marcel Toing. My mistake. And he's just kind of cooking. You know, you never really see him being a good chef. You just see him like spinning a pot.
Yeah, he's just stirring a pot. That's all you gotta do.
I'm like, I don't even know how the conflict arises in this movie. They're just like, we need to go find food.
No, the conflict is that there's these 3 aristocrats. That's how they describe them, I think. And they're trying to infiltrate Ratatouille to get their recipes because their restaurant is failing, right?
Yeah, and everyone knows Marcel Toing has the best recipes.
Yeah, so they're like, with the subtlety of a baboon, trying to get the recipes. Like, Marcel will be 2 feet away from their table, and they're just really
we need
loudly...
to convince Marcel to give us his ingredients for the recipe.
Yeah, they're just discussing their plot really loudly.
But their plot doesn't even make sense. They're just like, we need Marcel's signature. They never explain why they really need Marcel's signature. They just need Marcel's signature.
I know what you're talking about. They have a notepad that they're trying to play off as like an autograph book.
Yeah.
Because Marcel gets suspicious. So that's why they get his signature.
Oh, I see.
Because they're trying to make him believe that...
I can see you really know.
This is a really fucking smart movie, okay?
I can see you picked up on a lot more details on the movie than I have.
Yeah, I know this thing inside and out.
I mean,
okay.
To give you some insight, while we were watching it, Bruno was reciting all the lines for like the first 10 minutes of this movie.
It's great.
It's great.
The animation and just the presentation of the movie in general is just really bad.
Yeah,
it's like
not good.
It's like less than 480p. The quality of it, it's like 240p.
It's rat pee.
And the animation is like OG PlayStation animation, but worse.
Yeah, and and they all look so stilted when they're moving around.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, they look like they're made out of claymation, but it's computer animated.
Yeah, and the dubbing is even worse.
I mean, it was originally in Portuguese.
Really? I thought it was Spanish.
No, Brazilians speak Portuguese.
Oh, for sure. That's why the dubbing is so bad. Then I thought it was just like they didn't give a shit about the way the mouths move.
They also didn't give a shit about that, but I'm cutting them a little slack.
Yeah, it's weird that we can only find the English dub on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a secret second version of Ratatoing. If any of you can find it and send it our way, please do.
Yeah.
You'll know it's the correct one because it won't have a 2-minute intro of just the credits.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, please send it our way. We want the original Ratatoing. We don't want this dub shit.
Release the Snyder cut.
Release the Toing cut.
One thing that's worth mentioning is they never specify the location that the movie is set in. No. They just say that it's in the heart of this city.
Yeah, we're in the heart of the city.
And that's where the story takes place.
Yeah,
in the heart of this city.
That's what the narrator says in the beginning.
So you never really know where it is.
In the heart
it's
of
ambiguous.
The city. It's also on one side, it's like a full city, but you later find out that the Ratatoing restaurant is just connected to someone's house. So it even adds an extra layer of confusion. Where even am I?
I thought it was like in the basement of a legit restaurant, and that's where they get their ingredients. Because they take their ingredients from a kitchen that's easily accessible.
I mean,
so that makes me think it's just like beneath another restaurant.
Yeah, in the heart of the city. Another restaurant in the heart.
It's really ambiguous, okay? It's like a David Lynch film.
Yeah, there's a lot to chew on and interpret.
Gives you room to dream.
What's his partner's name? His sidekick, the big green mouse?
Greg.
Greg.
Yeah, Greg has a good catchphrase.
Yeah, Greg's probably my favorite character just because at the end of every sentence, he goes, precisely.
Yeah, it's a good catchphrase.
Precisely.
He just waits for people to say a true statement. And then he says, precisely.
Precisely. If you want to, commit suicide in a fun way, just take a shot every time he says precisely. And you'll have the best night of your goddamn life.
Fuck. We should probably bring up that scene that we're both thinking about.
Are we talking about the suiting up scene?
Yeah, the suiting up.
Yeah. So before they go to steal their ingredients from whatever fucking restaurant they're going to, they have a long scene where they suit up in Mission Impossible spy gear, which is completely unneeded for whatever mission they're going on. And it takes probably 4 minutes the first time you watch it of them just putting on suits and then running and then
panting
and
making awkward sounds
and then they strike a pose and then they cut to them running again.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing that for very long.
And they're in a separate dimension that's just a white background. Also, it's
like they forgot to pay the animators for that part.
Yeah. They're like, it works. Let's just leave it white.
It's a dream sequence.
Actually, I don't agree that they don't need the equipment they're bringing, because Marcel uses the grappling hook every time he swings over to the kitchen table to grab cheese or something.
That is true, but he does only use it once, and they do go in the kitchen 3 or 4 times.
No, he uses it to go grab the chocolate when they're fighting the cat.
That's right.
Remember that chocolate where it takes him 5 minutes to pick up the chocolate because it's so heavy? And then the cat shows up and he lifts it up right away?
Yeah, because the cat is strong. The cats are stronger than rats.
No, but he lifts it up because he's running away from the cat.
Oh, wait, so are you saying the cat makes him
I clearly
stronger?
know much more about this movie than you, okay?
I'm not an expert on the toying universe.
You know, I'm starting to get pissed off.
I can tell. This is your favorite movie. You have seen this movie a lot. But yeah, they reuse that same suiting up scene literally every time they decide to get more ingredients.
It's sort of like the transition between them going into the kitchen. They enter the White Realm.
Yeah.
And then,
You have to enter the void to escape the heart of the city and enter the kitchen.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. And they didn't. And for the suiting up scenes, it's not that they created different shots for them suiting up. They reused the exact same shots every single time.
Every time.
They may put them in a different order, but it's the same thing every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the same length every time.
Yeah.
The entire movie is just padding.
Yeah,
they see how long they can pad out each scene.
The movie's only like 45 minutes long.
Yeah, but if you go by
about 15 minutes of it is suiting up scenes and just like, huh, precisely.
And 10 of it is just talking about food.
Yeah.
And like, okay, there's a great scene that we should talk about next, which is where the villains are trying to make a ruckus in the restaurant so that they call the exterminators and set traps.
Yeah.
To keep Marcel and his friends from stealing more food. And they just decide to like do a little dance and make ghost sounds. And they dance around in a circle and go like, woo!
It really makes no sense. And this scares the humans.
And it's like 5 minutes of just that.
Woo!
Like this story could have been told in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it just didn't need to be told.
It didn't need to be 45
the story,
minutes.
It's barely even a story. It's more like events happening.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the cat?
Yeah, let's get into the cat.
I'm pretty sure the animators have never fucking seen a cat before. Because not only does it kind of look like an amphibian, it also runs on 2 legs. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a cat before, but they use all 4 of those fuckers, so.
He looks like they animated like a frog with a cat skin on it.
Yeah, they just put fur on a frog. It's very confusing.
Because it sits like a frog too.
Yeah.
When it's sitting down, it's like all chubby, and its
legs are sticking out in weird places.
They're kind of lanky, and it runs on 2 legs. It's weird. It's very odd. Very, very odd. The editing and the pacing in the movie is
spectacular.
They just cut to other conversations halfway through the scene, and then they cut back to the original conversation before that conversation's even done. Yeah.
So it's like you're listening to 2 broken conversations at once.
Yeah, it's like fucking Love on a Leash or some shit. Like it's like someone with short-term memory loss edited it.
It's like a David Lynch movie. It was completely unintentional, every choice David Lynch made.
You know what? That's the second time we've compared this to David Lynch. I think David Lynch should try to adapt this film.
Oh, he did. Have you seen Rabbits?
Oh, shit. Yeah, he took some creative spins on it.
Yeah, you know how all the dialogue is out of order in Rabbits? That's straight from Ratatoing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that he was heavily influenced by Video Brinquedo.
Video Brincado. My favorite production company.
Video Avocado.
Yeah, I think everyone should see Ratatoing, honestly.
It's an essential viewing experience.
At the end of it, I was legitimately very happy. My moods were brightened, and I was much more awake.
Yeah, I think everyone should check out this film. It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, a masterpiece.
Classic, yeah, a masterpiece. Better than The Godfather. You can watch it on YouTube in 240p.
Marcel Toing is my hero. I know you guys can't see my room right now, but it's just posters of Marcel.
Mine is posters of Greg. And it says, precisely.
Precisely. Because you're always right.
Yeah, that's my computer background, too.
Precisely.
Precisely.
I
don't think there's much more to say about this.
It's only a 40-minute movie. You guys should just go watch it.
Yeah.
This is more of like a suggestion than a review.
Yeah. A classic Bruno and Big Mouth recommends.
Classic.
How did I get so classic?
All right. Speaking of songs and singing,
the music and singing.
Yeah, what's our next segment?
We're gonna talk about some new music. So our first song is by the legend, Lil Nas X.
Yeah, the king.
And Montero, Call Me By Your Name.
Call me by your name.
And it's just a fucking banger song.
Yeah, this song slaps way harder than it has any right to.
Lil Nas X just came out of his Old Town Road phase and became a living legend.
A superstar.
Yeah, he did not need to pop this hard.
Yeah, and another element to it, the fact that it pissed off so many Christians just by him fucking the devil in the music video.
Oh yeah, and then he did devil.
Just makes the song an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
I love if we're gonna talk about the music, I love the Latin feel to it. I think a lot of people try to go for the vibe that song is going for, with the guitar chords and everything, but fail.
No, the production
on it. Cheesy.
The production on it was great.
Oh yeah, I like his voice too.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm not even kidding. It seems like he has a pretty good range.
No, and a lot of character in his voice too.
Yeah.
You can hear the emotion when he's saying lines. It's not just there's people with traditionally good voices, but with no emotion. It's I'm just hitting the notes.
He has a lot of style. I like how he's really moving forward in his career.
Yeah.
And becoming more relevant.
Yeah, it seems like every song, it sounds different. He's going for a different thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like every one of his songs, but I can respect that at least, because that's hard to fucking do.
Yeah, because Old Town Road was good, but it's not it's more of an ironic good at the same time.
Yeah, this is just an objective good.
Yeah.
I just like listening to this song.
Yeah, I just want to shake my ass every time I hear it playing.
It does make me attracted to Lil Nas X.
Yeah,
especially in the music video, I'm that's a sexy man.
He thick.
Yeah, he really thick. I think of myself as mostly straight, but I would be in a live-in relationship with Lil Nas X.
I think I'd like to see him venture into new directions, but I would also like to hear more of this style if he wanted to, try and focus it a bit more. Because I really like this for him.
I want to hear more of his singing too.
Yeah.
I feel this is the first time I've really hear him sung in his real voice and not I'm a deep country man.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I want to hear more of it. He was really nice. His voice is pretty.
Yeah, he good. All right, let's move on. You want to rate it?
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm probably a 7. So the next song is 21 Pilots had a new song called Shy Away.
And it was a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I'm I would consider myself a fan of 21 Pilots, even though I can agree that they have some singles that are really cringe, like Stressed Out and Car Radio.
Yeah, they're super hit or miss for me.
Yeah, it's I don't know, they either hit what they're trying to go for or they don't.
I feel all their popular songs I hate, but every song that my friend shows me or something that I haven't heard before, I'm oh, this kind of slaps.
Yeah, what my experience with them is whenever I put on one of their albums, the singles are the ones that I like the least.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of good songs within the margins.
Because they're more than just a pop band, but those are the songs that pop off,
Yeah, definitely. I think in the case of this song, Shy Away, I really like the direction they're going for. It kind of reminds me of a new wave type feel.
I was going to say the same thing. It gave me a strong 80s vibe.
Yeah, it was kind of Take On Me a little bit. Yeah. With the beat and the synths.
Definitely. The synth line was straight out of an Aha song.
Yeah, and they even get slightly experimental with the synths at some point during the song.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot more noodling towards the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyler Joseph's voice sounded really good on this track too.
Oh yeah, he's a great singer. Yeah. I like to see his voice utilized well instead of doing cringe rap.
Yeah, it's either utilized very well or he's the whiniest, cringiest white rapper in the world, and I don't want to hear anything. It's he's either Tyler Joseph or Tom McDonald.
Yeah. I love how focused the song is because of how since it's a really small scale to begin with, I feel it achieves what it's going for and more.
Yeah. How long? Isn't the song only 2 minutes long? 2.5?
2 or 3.
Yeah, it's a pretty short song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it all feels precise. You know, it's not like
Precisely.
they're not wasting time because they only have like 2.5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a part towards the end of the song where he has like a belting scream,
Yeah.
which I love to hear him do.
The pop breakdown.
Yeah. Well, that's cool too.
Yeah.
There's like a halftime breakdown. And if anything, I would like to hear more of stuff like that whenever they do it. Because it seems like when they try to implement heavy sections in their songs or like try to go a little bit more out there, it's way too limited.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them sort of venture out and go further in that direction.
Experiment a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But yeah, I love his belting vocals. I love his vocal melodies. The hook was pretty infectious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a decent song.
Yeah, it's a decent song. I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6.
Yeah. I don't think this is a good week.
Huh?
Usually we have a couple 1s and 2s right off the bat.
Yeah, no, this week was like all songs that were listenable.
Yeah.
Songs that I did not want to shut off halfway through.
And not Lil Yachty.
I'm Lil Yachty. That's not what he sounds like, but that's my voice for him.
Yeah.
I'm Lil Yachty.
The next song is Serge Tankian, Electric Yerevan.
Yerevan.
And the main thing you need to know about this song is that he wrote it for System of a Down, but as you might know, they had some dispute over whether to release an album.
Some disagreements.
Yeah, so Serge just released this song under his solo banner, and it definitely fucking sounds like a System of a Down song.
Yeah, it sounds like, you know, a stripped down System of a Down song, which is like good, but very bad at the same time. It leaves you wanting a little bit more from it.
Yeah, I think I just really wish they did it with System of a Down, to be honest.
It just makes, like, I don't think it's a bad song at all. It just doesn't feel as full as it needs to be.
Yeah, it was sonically way less, I don't know, it had way less of a punch to it than if the band actually executed this properly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it really saddened me to hear, like, the Serge doing his own vocal harmonies in the background when I knew that Darren could have been doing it.
Yeah, and like there's so many like cool parts and cool little transitions in this song too that just didn't hit as hard because I knew it wasn't System of a Down.
Yeah.
Like there's this part where there's like a breakdown and Serge is just doing like weird political spoken word.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite part.
And it's cool, but I knew like just how much cooler it could be.
Yeah. I can appreciate that Serge is a multi-instrumentalist that likes to play everything on his albums. Yeah. But like I think each member of System of a Down really brings their own flavor.
Yeah, especially their trumper drummer. He brings the right to the mix.
He brings the far right to the mix, am I right?
Hell yeah, brother.
Am I far right? But yeah, I was just really missing Darren on this track. I think it's a decent song, but it could have really come together with the band behind it.
It's like 6 out of 10 for me without Darren, but with Darren, I could easily see it being an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely.
But there is no Darren, so
I agree.
Sorry, Serge. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a 6 from me too.
Yep.
So the next song. These are not really in any particular order, to be honest. I mean, these last two are the best, I think.
I would agree.
But I didn't really have. Usually, it's a violent, bad, and then the top is like a violent good.
Yeah, none of these songs are bad.
Yeah. So the next one is "Death from Above," 1979.
Banger.
1+1.
Banger.
And this is a drum and bass duo, which I fucking love because I'm in a drum and bass duo.
I didn't even realize it was just drum and bass on this.
Oh yeah, isn't it nuts?
Yeah, that adds an extra level of intrigue and surprise.
Yeah, the bass tone that he achieves in this band is just so... It's out of this world, honestly.
It always impresses me when it sounds like they're playing like bass and guitar at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's how the band works, honestly, is the tone of everything.
Yeah. And
the drummer is the one that sings.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, in the music video, it's The bassist singing.
No, he wasn't singing.
I thought he was.
No, there was one section where he was only playing drums, and then one section where he got up and started singing.
I see now.
Yeah. But if we're gonna get into the actual song, it sounds like just a really groovy, cooler version of like a Scott Pilgrim song.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a modern Strokes song.
Oh yeah,
it's like it had like that definitely like mid 2000s alternative vibe.
It has like an experimental twist on like an alt rock song.
Yeah.
From the 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. There's like, I just love how all the tones they use give it sort of its own identity.
Yeah, and they all work really well into one another. Like the bass tone and the vocal effects they put on really blend well into one another.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
There's like a middle section to this song where it's just like a drum and vocal breakdown.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part. When he's like, 1+1. And it's just drums.
Yeah.
It's a sick beat. It's like...
Yeah, there's a lot of like weird drum beats. And he's only playing like a 3-piece drum set.
Oh yeah. You don't need anything else, bro.
I guess not.
That's all you need.
You know, I do have one problem with the band though. That's From Above 1979 sounds like some weird metal band. And then I listened to the song and it was nothing like that. So I think they should change their name.
Yeah.
At least like, I don't know. Life From Above 1980.
1980.
Yeah. That's my only problem.
Back to the Future 1985.
1984. Bum bum.
Bum bum. Yeah, it's a great song. I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah, it's an 8 for me as well.
Yeah. So the last song is a really cool band. It's The Armed, and Iteration. And this song is like way different than their other stuff. They're usually just a hardcore punk band.
Really?
Yeah.
And the rest of their music doesn't sound like that?
No.
But that song was so good.
Yeah, this song is way more synth heavy than they usually do.
Well, it just sounds like they've been practicing that style for a while. Because that song was like so good.
No, it's pretty new, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a... the only way I could describe them is just like with a hardcore punk band.
It's like industrial punk or some shit. I have no idea.
But this is really like... there's lots of heavy synths, and the clean vocals are really melodic, and I love the vocal melodies they choose to do behind the booming bass synth.
Yeah.
You know?
This like in your face synth.
Yeah.
And then you have like these loud scratchy vocals as well. But it's not like screams, like you're still clearly singing, but
oh yeah. It reminds me of the Glassjaw vocals.
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of just this gritty scream, but not scream, he's just belting.
Yeah, with like all these vocal effects on it, making it like fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's just a very fuzzy voice.
I think every aspect of the song is executed really well. Like I love the drumming.
Yeah.
And I love the lead guitar and like the lead synth. There's a section especially at the beginning where every instrument is just going nuts.
Yeah.
Before the first verse comes in.
No, it starts and you're like, what the fuck is going? It's very overwhelming when you first hear it. Yeah. Because it's just noise. And it's not pleasant noise.
It's
just
very
like
busy.
Loud, busy noise.
And then it gets into a catchy verse and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. I don't know, just the song really caught me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised this is the first song they've done in this style. I hope they do more, because it's a very interesting style.
Yeah, they made a song for the Cyberpunk soundtrack.
Oh, yeah?
That was pretty typical punk.
You know, I was going to play that game, but then I didn't. Because it didn't turn out looking good.
It doesn't look very good.
Yeah,
no.
that's my story.
Yeah, the Armed and Converge made a song.
Converge made a song?
Yeah, because there's a there's a black metal bar in Cyberpunk.
Converge isn't that black metal. They're not even a black metal band.
Yeah, I know, but
aren't they a hardcore band?
Yeah, but that's sort of like beside the fact that they made a song for the game.
I mean, it's still cool nonetheless, but it doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, I think they play the Armed and Converge on the radio during some stations, but there is just a black metal bar separately where they have like black metal bands playing.
They should have just had
the band.
They should just make a Varg character. You know Varg?
No.
From Mayhem?
No.
You know the band Mayhem?
No. I
Fuck.
haven't heard them.
They're a Norwegian black metal band. And anyway, Varg stabbed one of the members, then went to jail, and now makes Nazi propaganda from a jail cell.
Sick.
Yep. Anyway, what would you rate
Sounds
this
like
song?
a cool guy. Probably like a 9.
Yeah,
it's my favorite song of the week.
It's also a 9 for me, and it was also my favorite song.
Yeah.
Even though I have listened to Call Me By Your Name more.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I just like every song this week.
Yeah, you good.
It's really dope.
You did well this week, Bruno.
Yeah. I like to try and find some bad songs for us to make fun of, but I just couldn't find any. Like everything was just
people
good.
are just making good music. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, it's way better than 2020.
What?
We're
we're still in 2020.
No.
We're in the we're in the 15th month.
Fuck. Yeah, this year is just as bad, honestly.
I mean, it's just the same.
Yeah, it's just more of the same. At least we get to do a podcast.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, would you like to move on to what album you recommended me to listen to?
Yes.
Do you remember which one that was?
No.
No?
Just kidding. I remember. So I suggested that Drake listen to Calculating Infinity by Dillinger Escape Plan, which is one of my favorite records of all time. And there's a lot of interesting things to say about it. One thing about the making of this album is that it was probably the hardest record to make situationally for any band, because they made a 3-song EP called Under the Running Board in 1997. And then when they got picked up, their bass player got into a terrible car accident and got paralyzed on the entire right side of his body.
That would make it hard to play bass.
Yeah, so he couldn't be in the band. And then their lead guitar player also left because he didn't think they were going to make it big. And he went on to be like a chemist or a biologist or some shit because he had a PhD. And then the only people left to make the record was the drummer, Chris Penny, and the rhythm guitar, Ben Wyman, and the singer, Darren Melikakis. And
according to Wikipedia, it's
Dimitri, sorry. Fuck. We were talking about System of a Down, and I'm thinking about Darren.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if Darren was in this band too.
So, Dimitri Melikakis. And Ben Wyman didn't really know how to play lead guitar at all. He was just a rhythm guy, and he had to play all the guitar on the album.
The guitar's fucking insane, too.
Yeah, he had to play the lead, the bass, and the rhythm guitar. And he didn't even know how to tap. He didn't even know how to play the shreddy parts.
How the fuck did he learn so quick? That's insane.
Yeah, that's why they like almost broke up before making this album, because it was just such a daunting task ahead of them.
Well, I'm glad he did it.
Yeah,
he wrote some good songs.
Yeah,
I don't know
somehow he did it.
I don't know how he did it. There's no way you should be able to learn how to play this kind of guitar that quickly. But...
Yeah, it's really nuts, and I think it's just such an achievement, and I'm so glad that this record exists.
Yeah, because I mean, that kind of changes my perspective on some of the songs, at least.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think the drummer Chris Penny had a lot to do with crafting the sound of the record as well, because he programmed some of the drum machines and some of the electronic bits, and he played synthesizer. So it was basically entirely up to Ben Wyman and Chris Penny to just craft this experience. And
then Dimitri's just there being angry.
Yeah, he's just yelling.
He's just being mad.
he got real mad. But yeah, I think this is one of, if not the best, it's one of the best mathcore albums of all time. And it's just really nuts. You know,
it's a wild ride, the whole ride through.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it keeps you on your toes.
From the first 10 seconds of the first song, you can pretty much tell that the entire record is going to be nuts.
Yeah, very manic energy.
Yeah, it's one of the most spastic, fast, just chaotic records I've ever heard.
You know, when I first listened to the first couple songs, though, I don't know, I was kind of scared for what the rest of the album would be, because I feel like the first couple ones were a lot more straightforward than the latter half on the album. But I don't know. That's all I have to say about the first couple songs.
You mean the first couple songs are more
Like,
straightforward?
yeah, like the first three before they get to like the hashtag period,
Oh,
whatever that
the
interlude track is.
punctuation song.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I feel like from the punctuation song onwards, this album was great, but I don't know, the first three songs didn't really impress me that much.
you didn't like 43% Burnt?
No.
Oh, I disagree.
Yeah.
I think 43% Burnt is like
Well, it's
the
not
best Dillinger Escape Plan song.
really. I'm not to say that I didn't like it. It just I don't know. It didn't impress me.
Right. Um, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I love the riff to that song. I, what's really impressive to me was how Ben Wyman was able to capture like the sound of this album tonally all by himself. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
and I think 43% Burnt is a great example of that because you have like the tone of the first riff, which is
Yeah.
basically just screeching guitar, and then a big chunk of it is like a really nasty heavy tone, and then there's that middle section in 7/8 where
Yeah.
it's just like really bouncy and kind of Mr.
I
Bungly
did
almost.
I did really enjoy that part. It's
Yeah,
just like
it's
the
like
meat around it, just like I don't know. I don't think it like meshed that well in. I think
yeah,
that's the issue for like a lot of like math rock bands for me. It's like there's has so many like different sections in each math rock song that I can really fuck with one section and then think another one goes on for too long,
right.
or I get bored of it pretty quickly.
Yeah, the songs are pretty dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of see what you mean, but like I don't know. I came to appreciate this entire album in getting into it for this podcast
Yeah.
because I always saw it as this like I don't know, this godly omnipotent experience that I just didn't uh it was kind of intimidating to delve completely into.
Yeah.
But since I've been listening to it every day, I don't know, I have a newfound appreciation
Yeah.
for
Especially
everything
like
going on in the album.
the history behind the album too. It's just insane.
Yeah, you can't
Like
say that about any other Dillinger
I
album.
feel like I would have enjoyed the album more if I knew that going in. Because maybe some of the sections I thought were less impressive would be like, oh, because one guy was literally doing everything. Like maybe I would have cut them a little more slack, you know,
Yeah,
mentally.
must have been really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I would have a fucking breakdown if they put that shit on me. I would not know what to do.
yeah. Um, I liked the punctuation song
Hmm.
because I think that's sort of the perfect transition into Destro's Secret, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite songs on
Destro
the album.
Secret is my favorite song on the album. I think it's mainly because of the combination with the punctuation song before it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like I feel like it's a double feature, you know.
definitely.
Like I can't listen to Destro's Secret without listening to that song beforehand, just because
Yeah.
it plays into each other so well.
And Destro's Secret has a lot of screamo influence as well.
Yeah,
With
maybe that's
sort of-
why it's my favorite one.
with sort of the poetic shouted vocals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a pussy, but I like those poetic sort of spoken word parts a lot.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised you don't like Sugar Coated Sour then, because that also has that kind of, you know, spoken word, like kind of sassy vocals.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was ever a moment where I didn't like the vocalist per se. It was more
Yeah.
so the music surrounding it that
Right.
kind of put me off. Because, I don't know, with these high energy bands, and this goes the same for a lot of screamo bands too, like, there's got to be something more to me than just a lot of music in my face, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I want to hear some more intricacy than that or dynamics.
Well,
I feel like they didn't really play on dynamics as much until, like, the later songs in the album.
yeah, I kind of agree. The first few songs are definitely just meant to be really in your face.
Yeah.
I mean, there is little like tidbits like within the songs where it kind of goes down for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's probably like one of the loudest, most chaotic albums I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I definitely had to turn the volume down a little bit when I first started the album.
Yeah.
It's very loud.
But I don't agree with you when you say that there's not enough intricacy in the music, because there's a lot of intricacy in the music.
By intricacy, I mean like noise level. like the dynamic intricacy, or like
Right.
songwriting, not songwriting. But I'm not talking, say, like time signature shit and like what they're actually playing, because they're always doing like creative, interesting shit there. It's just like I don't always like the sounds that produces.
Right. Yeah, because in my first couple listens on the record, I kind of felt the same way, but I really enjoyed getting into it because um, I feel like I can actually comprehend what the songs are now,
Yeah,
and I even get like some of the riffs stuck in my head,
yeah,
and it's like I think it's a really enjoyable experience once you're able to finally break that barrier of, this is really noisy and fast.
yeah. No, I would agree with you too. Like, I only listened to the album like 2 or 3 times, and I feel
Right.
like that's still not enough with this one.
Yeah,
You know?
because it's just so dense. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it needs that type of commitment, which
When
can also be a flaw.
like when every one of your songs has like 5 to 10 different little musical sections, it's
Yeah,
gonna take a lot of listens in order to understand it all.
yeah. But that that means you must really like uh the song Calculating Infinity
I do really like, again,
because
like
that's
every
great.
song after the punctuation song, I just liked.
Yeah.
I just legitimately thought were like 8 out of 10s or above, every single one of them.
Yeah, because the punctuation song, or no, I'm sorry, I mean Calculating Infinity is a really awesome just math rock groove
Yeah.
for the entire time, and then it gets quiet for a while, and then it comes back, but like in with the same groove, but really nasty and heavy,
Yeah, no, I like the
and it's dope.
transition where they just like played the same group but made it uglier and uglier as the song went on.
Yeah, it's really
It's a really
awesome.
interesting idea.
Yeah, I think Ben want just like I said before, the tones on this album like really blow me away, especially with the knowledge that it was only Ben
Only
Wyman.
one fucking guy.
Yeah, like uh the the guitar tone really impressed me in the song The Running Board when it comes down for that like quiet bit,
Yeah.
and there's that really pretty guitar lead and
Hmm.
those upstroke chords that
Yeah.
kind of sound westerny
Yeah.
a little bit.
God. Yeah, I guess I like the second half more just because like
There's more
yeah,
dynamics.
there's like more tones to it, like a more different instrumentation,
Oh
or like
yeah.
different effects on your instruments,
Yeah, I
and
see
not
what you
just like
mean.
loud noise fuzz. Yeah.
Yeah,
I also really love the song titles on this
yeah.
album, like Fourth Grade Dropout.
Oh,
That's a hilarious song title and a great song.
yeah, I think 43% Burnt is my favorite Dillinger Escape Plan song.
Hmm.
But also it's really really close second is Fourth Grade Dropout.
Yeah, that song is a slapper.
It's so nuts. It's
Yeah.
like it's like such an epic experience. I feel like it's the key track on the album and it's so underrated.
Yeah, I would agree too. I feel like it really encapsulates, the sound they're trying to go for the album.
Yeah, because the whole ending is just really epic guitar chords and insane drumming, and it just goes on and stays up at triple forte for
Yeah,
like 2 minutes.
it's just like really, it's like stadium noise mathcore rock. Like it's just grand and epic.
Yeah, it's so sick.
And I do have another minor gripe with the album though.
Yeah,
I listened to all 8 minutes of Variations on a Cocktail Dress, expecting there to be a secret track, and it
and
was
there
just
is.
no, it's just like musical interludes. It didn't sound like the rest of their album.
Yeah, it's just sound
Uh,
effects.
yeah, I wanted a legit secret track, and
Yeah,
I was disappointed.
you could have turned it off if you wanted to.
I know that, Bruno. But when you give me eight
That's what
minutes
I
of
did.
when you give me 8 minutes of track, I'm expecting a banger secret track at the end, and
Yeah,
they left it hanging.
I mean that's what they do sometimes. It's just a little tidbit at the end. It
Just
doesn't need to be something. They don't owe
but
you
if you're
anything.
putting a little tidbit, don't just make it sound effects. That's boring.
So many bands do that. What are you
Yeah,
talking
and that
about?
sucks. And it sucks every time. I want an actual song.
Yeah.
Or don't put a secret track at all. There's no point. Getting my hopes up so you can play your weird, funky sound effects that you found on your Pro Tools. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah, good album.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Yeah. Um Let me check my notes, see if I have anything
Yeah.
else I wanted to say.
So, were you saying their first album was called Under the Running Board?
Yeah, it's their first EP.
Okay. Did the song "The Running Board" come from that?
No,
No.
it's
Okay.
just sort of a play on the title.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting.
Under the Running Board is a really, it's the only thing they released with their full lineup back in the day, or like
Yeah.
with the
Before the
original lineup.
paralyzation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this album is made up of songs from that same era, but as just imitated by Ben Wyman.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Because he's an insane person.
Yeah. Some of this album are genuinely haunting. It's like I love the fucking chanting vocals in Destro's Secret.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a cult.
Yeah, it's pretty culty.
Yeah, but with some emo vibes as well.
Yeah. I feel like they used more shit like that throughout the album too. But I can't like remember any particular moment. I just feel like there's a lot of like subtle like samples or shit they put into it or something.
Yeah.
Not samples per se, but just like random chanting like you said and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sugar Coated Sour has a moment like that.
Yeah.
It's sort of like in the middle of the track, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
just
that
some interesting
Industrial
production.
Secret.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the album is produced masterfully.
Yeah.
It sounds so heavy. It's probably the heaviest sound of an album.
I feel like it's really hard to master like really loud albums.
Oh yeah.
And still be able to hear everything. Like you could hear the singer the whole time, which is like the biggest issue for any of these like super loud albums for me.
Yeah, and there's like, so much going on with the guitars.
Yeah.
As well.
Like, I don't know.
It must be hard to find a balance for everything.
I wonder who produced this. Do you know? Whoever did it did a good job. I don't know how you do it. Oh, Ben Wyman.
He produced it?
He was one of the producers.
Yeah, he was probably a production consultant, heavily for sure.
Yeah, it says the Ben Wyman, Chris Penny produced it.
Oh yeah, so it must have been all them.
That's even more insane.
Yeah.
That's so much work.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of, it's better to do that sometimes when you're so close to the music.
Yeah, especially if you're doing what Ben Wyman had to do, and like do 3 different people's roles at once. You probably want to be in charge of how it all sounds.
Yeah. Did you know this is like one of Mike Patton's top 3 albums?
I did not. I can see why he wanted to work with the band though.
Yeah, well, he discovered them after Under the Running Board, and that's why they toured with Mr. Bungle in '99.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then when Calculating Infinity came out, it was like one of his favorite albums.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all like super self-conscious of it because it was like just such a fucking burden to get done.
Yeah.
And
they probably had no love for the album anymore.
Yeah, and they like got pissed off every time he was listening to it around them. But he was like, "Fuck you, it's great."
Yeah, be proud of this shit. It's really good.
It actually is great. It's one of my like top 5 albums.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have much more to say about it.
I don't have any more thoughts. You want to do rating?
Yeah, I think it's a classic 10 from me.
I'm giving this one an 8.
Sick.
Sick, dude.
Still above a 7.
Yeah, still above a 7. All right. You want to get into our movie discussion for this week?
Yeah, let's get into the movie.
All right, so
because we got the movies.
We got the movies. So Bruno had me watch Dead Ringers by David Cronenberg this week.
Yeah.
You want to
heavy movie?
Very heavy movie. Very intense movie. Very unexpected places movie.
Oh yeah.
Very Cronenberg.
Yeah. So Dead Ringers is about 2 twins, both played by Jeremy Irons, that are both doctors, gynecologists at the same clinic.
Named Beverly and Elliot.
Yeah, Beverly
or
and Ellie. Bev and Ellie.
Ellie.
And they have a really unique setup for
their practice.
For their practice.
Yeah.
I fucking just zoned out.
Yeah, you got that 1,000-yard stare.
I have like a deer in headlights look.
Private Pile? Are you still with us?
It's a jelly donut.
Eat it. Eat it, Private Pile. And talk about Dead Ringers. And
Oh.
continue. What's
Okay,
their interesting
so
setup, Bruno? Tell me about the interesting setup they got going on.
my brain is melted. Anyway, so they have an interesting setup for taking each other's responsibilities, and they sort of like do what the other needs to do.
Yeah, like there's an alpha brother, that's Elliot, and there's
Yeah,
like a little beta bitch brother, and that's Beverly. So
yeah,
Elliot does like all like the socializing and like talking to people.
yeah, and all the speeches.
Yeah, like getting
Yeah,
promotions or
yeah,
connections.
accepting awards and stuff.
Yeah, and Beverly does like all the actual like doctor work, like
Yeah,
all of it.
and he does the lecturing and
Yeah,
like all the smart stuff. Um, he's definitely more intelligent, and um, eventually they share women as well.
yeah,
Like,
which is really fucking creepy.
yeah,
Elliot,
Elliot,
yeah,
yeah,
you can go.
Elliot like is the one that's confident with women, so he starts fucking girls, and then he hands them over to Beverly,
Yeah, when
who
he's
pretends
tired
that
with
he's
them.
Elliot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Elliot hands over this actress lady named Claire
who
to Beverly.
also fun fact has three vaginas.
Yeah, three
Yeah,
cervixes,
three cervixes, not
and
vaginas. My
it's
mistake.
this really creepy relationship because she's also his patient.
Yeah.
You know,
Also, she doesn't know the distinction between Beverly and Elliot when she first meets them.
yeah. So, Beverly decides that he's sick of taking the leftovers, and he wants to take Claire for himself. So he builds a stronger relationship with Claire,
Yeah.
and that relationship sort of brings Beverly into a state of madness
Yeah,
as the
well,
film goes along,
yeah, because Claire introduces him to shit like
like
pills.
drugs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So let's give a spoiler review and
Yeah.
then get into the spoilers.
Yeah.
I love this film. It's probably my favorite Cronenberg film. I love how each film from this, prime era of Cronenberg kind of
Hmm.
has its own voice while still feeling like a Cronenberg film.
Yeah.
And I think this is no different. It's probably the most unique of his films because it's just an emotionally impactful story.
Yeah, I thought the story to this movie was 10 out of 10. Like,
Yeah,
it was just very well written and went to a lot of like interesting and philosophical places, I guess is the best word that I wasn't expecting it to go.
oh yeah,
Making you like question identity in the first place and stuff. It's very interesting.
oh yeah. Uh, During the first like quarter, maybe third of the movie, it's kind of hard to tell the brothers apart before
Yeah.
you know their whole setup.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
found yeah, I found that interesting too because he kind of became like another character in the movie who had trouble like
oh yeah,
differentiating them.
because that's how everyone else in the movie feels
Yeah.
because no one can tell them apart. They say that often in the movie.
Yeah. So it's like when you're watching one of the twins do something, you're never really sure if it's like the good brother Beverly or like the bad brother Elliot. That's kind of how they frame it during the movie.
Yeah.
Even though neither of them are good or bad. In fact, I'd say both of them are just mainly on the bad side. But it's interesting to like constantly be questioning the character you're following and what's going on and who's actually doing what.
Yeah. Um, that's what makes it really fun on a rewatch because my second time watching, I had a much easier time, figuring out like which brother was on screen, and I was much more able to just get sucked into the story
Yeah,
when being less confused about that.
yeah,
And spoiler talk aside, I really like how subtly they reveal the nature of their, arrangement
hmm,
because they do it in some creative ways instead of just exposition.
yeah.
You know, it comes more from you start to learn more about each brother specifically with their character
And it's
traits.
very subtle. It's like through conversation rather than anything explicit they're actually doing.
Yeah,
Like Claire and Beverly could just be having a conversation and like randomly something gets mentioned about Elliot and Beverly's reaction will tell you what's actually going on.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I really loved the cinematography because it doesn't look like it's not shot super fancy or anything,
No.
but they must have had to get so creative with how they shot
Yeah,
this.
because the same person playing two people.
Yeah. And like the first time I watched it, I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna try and figure out, how they did this.
Yeah.
But it was so seamless
Yeah, when I
that
first watched it, like I was constantly questioning, like, wait, did they use two different actors? No
yeah,
way. Like this is the same person, but the way that like yeah, it was shot and edited in those particular moments was very good.
yeah, like you never question like how they did it at a certain point because it's just done so well. I realized like halfway into the movie, like, holy shit, I haven't even noticed like anything technically regarding, how they like split the screen to show them both in the
Yeah.
same room or whatever, or like the body double or
Yeah.
like the head double or anything like that. And that's like what you want. You want people to just get sucked into the experience. It's like it's a perfect example of like you notice when something's bad, but you don't notice when something's good.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like again, you don't even realize that it's the same actor playing both people. At least for
Yeah,
me, it's like he did such a good job at playing both those characters and making
yeah.
them different enough to be noticeable.
I think it's like a career-defining performance by Jeremy Irons, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He plays like the subtlety of the two brothers, like really masterfully.
Yeah. Just the way he holds himself too, because Beverly's always like very introverted and
Yeah,
shy and
he's
nervous.
much more repressed and
Yeah.
timid.
And like Jeremy Irons holds himself in that way. And whenever you see Elliot, like he's standing up straight and his chest is tall and he's confident in like every
Yeah,
decision and move he's doing.
yeah, he smiles more,
Yeah.
and he dresses. They both dress slightly different. Like Beverly wears sort of like jackets and
And
sweaters and
glasses.
glasses,
Yeah.
and Elliot wears like I don't
Suits
know
and shit.
stuff that makes him look like a womanizer, pretty much like a
Yeah.
petticoat and like a I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so
Like
subtle.
Patrick Bateman or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that stuff is so subtle, but it all works to get the points
Yeah.
across.
I feel like this movie had some issues with me. I mean, I had some issues with like the pacing of it.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the main part where I felt like the movie was lacking because they'd move from story beat to story beat so quickly without staying in it long enough for me to actually understand what was going on like a first watch.
Right.
Yeah. Did you experience that issue at all or
No, I didn't have that
no?
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, once we go into spoiler talk, I can delve in more, but
Yeah, let's just go into spoilers.
yeah.
Spoilers for Dead Ringers. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. You should watch it.
It's a really good movie.
Cronenberg. But like yeah. Like the whole like Claire going away on an acting trip, or not an acting, going away for a month to go acting, and then like a scene or two later, he's like picks up the phone and calls and immediately breaks up with her. I don't know, that stuff like that felt kind of cheap to me. Like the way he breaks up with her and shit, like, and the way that story had to progress, it just seemed like a little convenient. She'd be leaving at that time,
right,
and that they'd need that for the story in order to have this breakdown happen.
Yeah. I kind of see what you mean, but that didn't really bother me as much. I think that her leaving was supposed to just kind of show how rapidly Beverly was unraveling at that point in the story.
Yeah.
And just to really like focus in on like how bad he would be doing just by himself without her there.
Yeah.
Because he was really focusing in on Claire and obsessing over her.
Yeah.
And kind of making her his identity and like really latching onto her.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I just feel like they could have like handled it in a better way, or Cronenberg could have. So I don't know. I don't like the conflict being like I hear a man on the phone after you tell me I'm going on an acting trip and I'm going to be around actors and a bunch of people, and that's why we stopped talking. Like I wish it was like a more personal conflict that happened between the two of them.
Yeah, well,
like he could still pick up on something small and insignificant. I just want it to be more personal.
Right. I definitely see what you mean. But yeah, I enjoyed that part of the film where Claire was away and he was just getting worse and worse and worse with each day.
I enjoyed all that too. I just didn't like how they got there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence, I like how the film actually made that feel like a really long time.
Oh yeah, it felt like a fucking slog to watch him like relapse and break down on all these drugs and have like mental breakdowns.
Yeah. That was really well executed.
Yeah.
Did you like the heroin surgery?
Yeah, that's pretty fucking badass, dude.
There's a scene where Beverly's doing heroin in his office,
Yeah.
and then he goes right into surgery.
That's after he
That.
made all his alien equipment, right?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I feel like we need to mention the mutant woman first.
Yeah, he goes to like an art gallery and
No,
makes
before that, he's giving it. He's doing a procedure on a woman, and she's like, "It hurts when you insert that weird object into me."
Oh yeah, that scene is great.
Yeah, and it's like an object that they introduced in like the first part of the movie that he made with his brother while they're in like medical school working on cadavers.
Yeah.
And it was only meant to be used on like dead bodies. And he starts using it on this woman. She's like, "Ow, it hurts." He's like, "No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
This should not hurt you."
This
and then
shouldn't
he's like,
hurt you. This is the best medical equipment.
And then he like starts fingering her. I mean, it's for the procedure, but that is what he's doing. Like, it's not a rape thing. It's just, uncomfortable.
But yeah, that's what he did.
And he's like, I treated a woman once who fuck dogs. Are you a mutant? And she's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and I love how he's just like, oh, does it hurt when you have intercourse? And he's like being a dick, and she's just like, yes.
Yeah, that's literally what I just told you. It hurts. He's like, you must be fucking dogs.
Yeah, that's like, oh my god. It's so uncomfortable to watch Beverly, like, in appointments with people who are just trying to get medical help.
It's like he's
when
taking
he's in
out
this mental state.
All his frustration with females stemming from Claire on like literally every woman he's around. Yeah. And that's a lot of women because he does work as a gynecologist.
Yeah.
And men don't have to go to the gynecologist. Fun fact. I mean, if you did show up, it might be a little weird.
I didn't know that.
Hey, doctor, check me out. My vagina's looking weird.
It looks kind of like a dick.
Yeah, fix it.
And so,
let's get to the mutant alien equipment.
Yeah, this is like the most Cronenberg thing about the movie.
Yeah.
That has like, at least with the imagery.
Yeah, I mean, there's some dream sequences too that are pretty Cronenberg, but
oh yeah, there's that.
Of everything that happens in reality, this is the most body horror part.
So he goes to an art gallery and has a bunch of surgical tools made that look like
straight out of fucking Alien.
Yeah, like insect limbs and just all of this alienoid, insectoid, like metal tools.
No, it looks like the H.R. Geiger stuff from Alien.
Yeah.
Like all like the weird ship design shit.
Yeah.
Like the weird alien runic symbols.
Yeah, and I love the design of those.
Yeah, I want to own some of them. They looked really cool.
Yeah, I think the heroin surgery is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's also my favorite scene. No way.
Yeah, and I love how the look of like the red surgical uniform. Yeah. And like he has the tray of the insectoid tools.
Reminded me of like some like Eyes Wide Shut shit or something, like this whole alien cult thing operating on the mutant woman with my mutant woman tools.
Yeah, I just love the look of that scene, and it's like probably the most fucked up thing I've seen in a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
It's so like, it just shows like how far Beverly has unraveled to a really exaggerated extent.
I guess like the thing about Cronenberg movies is watching like people become monsters.
Yeah.
But it's usually like actual like deformities and shit.
Yeah, literal.
In this
monsters.
movie, you're watching this person become like a monster because of like drug addiction and shit.
Yeah.
And just obsessiveness and like the lack of having an identity or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciated the relationship between Elliot and Beverly once Elliot started deciding to really help Beverly get better.
Yeah.
Because in the first part of the movie, Elliot's just kind of like a cocky asshole.
Yeah. And he's like, "Come on, Bev, you got to do better. You want to talk to some woman, Bev? Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah, fuck this woman that I already fucked."
Just kind of being like condescending and pompous.
Yeah. And he kind of goes through some character development once Beverly starts getting sick. I love the Chang and Aang scene.
Oh, yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, well, that too, but...
I meant like right before the end, yeah.
Yeah, but when they first tell the Chang and Aang story...
Oh, yeah.
That's a really touching moment because they both sort of have a newfound sympathy for each other's situations.
Yeah, I like that too because, like, You know, typically in movies like this, I feel like the characters would be like pushed away as the movie progresses, but in
Yeah,
this one they just get closer together.
yeah,
And like I think the whole idea is like they're becoming like one person because the whole movie they're like nothing happens until we tell it to one another. Like they believe in this idea of like being one with another. And like
yeah.
there's no identity separate from them together.
Yeah, and then Elliot gets hooked on drugs, and he's just like, whatever goes into
Well,
Beverly's
he
system needs to go into
yeah,
my
he gets hooked
system.
on drugs because he has to feel the same as Beverly. They have to be
Yeah,
the same person.
and then his girlfriend tells him, like, no, if you don't put it in your mouth, it doesn't get into your system. And he's like, you don't understand. No one can tell us apart. We're the same person.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into the most fucked up part of the movie
Yeah.
for me is when Beverly kind of has his plan to separate the twins.
Yeah, well, like
And
they keep on mentioning like Siamese twins throughout the movie, and like
yeah,
how you need to separate them so they can be like their own person.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he has this plan to, take advantage of Elliot while he's on drugs and perform this really fucked up surgery on him with his insectoid tools.
yeah,
And he basically just wants to get rid of Elliot so that he can take his place because Beverly's career is screwed.
yeah. He screwed it up by being a crazy drug addict who tried to kill women with his alien tools.
Well, on heroin.
Yeah, while on heroin.
During surgery.
Oh, we forgot to mention during the surgery, after all the nurses were like, "No, you're not using your fucking alien tools." He's like, "I need to calm down," and then he jumps on top of the patient and tries to steal her oxygen. So yeah, his career is ruined.
Yeah, he's done, which is why he wants to take Elliot's career, and um, it's really sad.
Yeah,
Like that whole sequence where he's performing the surgery on Elliot
and
is,
they call back to the Chang and Eng thing again.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
yeah, especially because Elliot realizes it, and then he's like, "I will be the sacrifice."
Yeah, he
Like
literally
it's
fucking,
time to separate the twins.
yeah, he like literally fucking murders his brother.
Yeah, and it's like
It's fucked up.
and like the moral of that is like at the end he did actually really give a shit about his brother and
Oh
like
yeah,
love him, which like the whole movie is trying to convince you he doesn't. But it's like his last action as a character is like basically killing himself so his brother can live a life.
yeah. I think I didn't really pick up on that my first watch, but there was so much new meaning in the second watch in that whole ending scene
Yeah.
because you see him, you wake up, or fucking he wakes up, and Elliot's just fucking dead on
Ellie,
the chair.
Ellie, where are you? Ellie, I need you.
And then he goes over to like a phone booth,
Yeah.
and someone's on the other
No,
end,
it's
and
Claire.
he doesn't say anything.
It's Claire's on the other end.
Oh, I didn't know it was Claire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which adds like another level to it. At least for me at least.
Yeah. I thought it was just I thought that was like an attempt to sort of reclaim his place like as Elliot. Like I thought he was trying to like become Elliot, and then his phone call was to wherever he could get a career.
Yeah.
As Elliot Mantis or whatever, I forget his last name.
Yeah, Mantis, the Mantis twins.
Yeah. And yeah, and then he sort of walks away from the phone booth without saying anything. I thought that was sort of his moment of like, oh, I shouldn't do this. I should just go be with my brother again. And then the last shot is him cuddling his dead brother.
Yeah, I had a slightly different interpretation.
Yeah.
So I did read the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, and it was Claire. That's how I found out. Because it's not really that obvious while watching the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was slightly interpretable.
Yeah, but like when she's like, "Who is this?" In my mind, it's like, oh, even despite everything he did, he still doesn't have his identity.
Oh yeah,
like he still can't be recognized for who he is or like his own person. He's just like he's just like another empty person, another nobody you'd see in the street. So then he goes back and hangs out with his dead brother.
Yeah, his efforts were fruitless.
Yeah,
so to speak.
It's like despite everything, no one knows who he is. Still, he's still not a person.
It's so sad.
Yeah,
like, and it's just executed so well.
Yeah,
like it's my favorite story in any Cronenberg movie. I
thought the story was impeccable.
Yeah, and the production aspects are just good enough for you to be sucked into it completely.
Yeah, I'd say like the lighting, the cinematography wasn't like exceptional or great. At times, it kind of felt like a TV movie for me, or like a Tales from the Crypt episode.
I kind of see what you mean. I think it was meant to be purposefully gray.
Yeah, it was just very plain to me. So I guess
Yeah.
if it, I don't know how purposeful or not was it, but I
Yeah.
guess that's like a minor gripe I have. It kind of felt like a TV movie, like
Yeah.
one of the best ones, but still a TV movie.
But also, they might have put all of their cinematography efforts into making sure that
Yeah, you can't tell the
yeah,
twins are different people.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like camera tricks to make that actually look good.
yeah, that makes sense. That's why like I have a hard time saying like the editing or anything is bad per se. It's just like they clearly they're focused on the much harder thing than like just like shot per shot editing.
And the scene where Beverly's cuddling with Elliot at the end looks so good.
Yeah,
It just looks like they're in the same fucking
it
room.
looks like Jeremy Irons is holding Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it was a really convincing
Dumbo.
like doll or something,
Yeah,
because he has done stuff similar to that in like Naked Lunch and
the flying
other
shit,
movies.
yeah.
But it just looked like it looked like two human bodies. I can't see a reality where that would be a puppet because it looked so good.
God, good movie.
Yeah,
A lot to think about.
it's one of my favorite movies that I've seen recently, at least.
This is only my second Cronenberg.
What was your last one? The Fly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good starting point.
I want to see
honestly.
some Scanners.
Scanners is good. I haven't seen it in a very long time. My second favorite movie by him has to be Naked Lunch.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
It's like that movie is way more surreal and more interpretable. Yeah. Kind of like a David Lynch film.
It's just
almost.
about a guy on heroin.
It's about a guy on bug powder.
Yeah. Metaphor for heroin. Anyway, I don't think I have that many more thoughts about the movie.
Yeah, wait, I fucking love it.
Hold on, I have one more. I do like the opening scene where they're both little boys and they're talking about how like fish don't have sex because they're underwater. And then they just go up to this random little girl and they're like, "Hey, do you want to have sex with us in the bathtub?" And that's the opening scene. Good, great.
Yeah. It's a good way to set the mood.
Yeah. These
like
two weird ass fucking sexually obsessed brothers.
There's if I have one thing to say is that I think the minimalistic Cronenberg body horror type stuff in this movie was kind of served the movie better than if they tried to cram more into it.
Yeah.
I think focusing on just telling the story as effectively as possible was a really mature route.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. Because when I hear Cronenberg, I'm like, oh, some fucked up shit's gonna happen all the time. Yeah. The whole movie is just gonna be weird, fucked up people. They really saved it for like the parts where it would hit you the most.
Yeah.
Like emotionally impact you the most.
Yeah.
He was very reserved during this movie.
And the music really helped that emotion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of like, I love this trio of David Cronenberg and Chris Wallace doing the special effects, and then Howard Shore doing the music.
Yeah.
Because they always like that constant collaboration always makes for some good movies.
Yeah.
I love me some Cronenberg movies.
Yeah. I gotta watch more.
Yes, you should.
Hell yeah.
I want to get the Blu-ray of Naked Lunch. It's kind of hard to find.
I'll find it for you, baby.
I think it's out of print or something.
Not when I'm looking. Do you have any more thoughts?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
You want to go into ratings?
Yeah, I'm probably giving it a 9.
Yeah, I'm giving it an 8.
Sick.
All right. Now, Bruno, I have recommendations for you. Would you like the album or the movie first?
Bing, 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 the movie.
The movie. You will be watching I Saw the Devil, directed by Jae-woon Kim.
Oh shit, I've been wanting to see that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's South Korean. I mean, it's the prequel to Parasite. I'm just kidding. Not every South Korean movie is Parasite. Okay. Good movie. Don't cancel me. Hashtag stop Asian hate. Okay, I should just shut up. Do you want the album recommendation?
Yeah, sure.
Only a Lad by Oingo Boingo.
I'm down.
It's one of my most classic albums. It's wonderful.
I'm super down.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you're down. All right, and That's it.
But one thing we should announce
Oh, yeah.
is that we're going to have our first guest on the show next week.
Yeah.
We're going to have a special episode with some special discussion topics.
Yes.
Sort of like a Bruno and Big Mouth event. And we're going to have...
the event of the century.
Yeah.
Only $40 on pay-per-view.
And we're going to have my incredibly talented musical friend, Scott Dunham,
who also
on the show.
Provided the intro for our podcast.
Who composed the intro, and he records great new experimental, heavy, freeform jazz rock every month pretty much. He comes out with an album pretty consistently. It should be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some crazy shit.
Movie and album.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.